Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with another reaction as we chip away through with Mr. DJ Shipley, former DevGru SEAL Team 6 operator, here on the Sean Ryan Show. So let's jump back in.
Oh, fuck, man. I'd sit in my, I just wanted to die. I did. I wanted to fucking die, and I didn't know why. I had the picture perfect life. Had a badass wife, gorgeous kid, dream job. Fucking, my life was heaven, and all I wanted to do was die.
Yeah.
I didn't know why. I'd sit in my guest room with that fucking dog of mine, and I'd talk to him. I would. Like that dog saved me more times than any fucking thing else, dude. I'd sit there and the obsession over the details are probably what saved me the most, because I'd think about putting Patsy through that. I'd think about the reality of shooting myself in the scene it would make in this house, the mess it would make, that she's going to have to clean that up. What's my kid going to find out? Or what are they going to say when they find out? And I ended up just not doing it. But I wanted to. And then I started to turn into other things. Like, I got to get my rocks off somehow. Like, what's my outlet going to be? Like, threading the needle. Like, that was the only thing that made me feel alive. Is the sketchier shit would go, the more I liked it. Man, it just, that TBI shit gets away from you fast. It and nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Sit in those fucking rooms, and I know those dudes feel the exact same way I do, and they're not saying anything. And they never did. I think that started to drive a wedge because I needed it so bad. I needed someone to confirm that I wasn't going fucking crazy. And because of the teams, not wanting to show weakness, no one did. And I thought I was alone. Other people, they check in, they do this, they do that, but it didn't matter. Like, I'm not telling anybody I'm fucked up. I'm just wondering why no one else has anything wrong with them.
Yeah.
Like, none of this shit ever affects you? Nothing? Like, you're not human? No? You never get headaches? Nope. You ever feel weird after a full day of breaching? Nope. You ever piss blood? Nope. You ever forget where the fuck you're at? Nope. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am the only fucking one. That drove me way down the fucking rabbit hole. Because now I've spent my entire life to hit a fucking pinnacle, and I can't remember anything. It's all escaping me. Yeah.
Man, the courage that it takes, or that it, sitting here listening to him talking about TBI, traumatic brain injury, and his experience going through that, right, man. I can understand why he's keeping that to himself, or why he would have felt like keeping it to himself. The vulnerability, to speak up here on this show anyway, and acknowledge that he needed and wanted, that confirmation from others that he wasn't alone, that he wasn't going crazy, that others are feeling the same, but they're likely bottling things up the same as DJ was and trying to disguise that as well as they could. Right.
I mean, Patsy, she called the command. She called my boss, and she's like, you have no idea what the fuck is going on with him. She's like, he's going to kill himself. She's like, he needs you guys right fucking now. We have to figure this out. And Nike was very new on the scene right then. So that was 2014. Went inpatient NICO for 30 days, and they did a whole workup on me and put me on all kinds of fancy prescriptions. And they helped. They did.
Man, sorry. Massive respect to his wife, Patsy, for making the call, seeing something's wrong, knowing something's off, things are way off. And also, sorry, I forgot to speak about that. He spoke about him. Well, I don't like that he wanted to take his own life. But what I liked is that he thought about the details and his obsession over the details and the impact that would have on other people. Hence why, I try to share that, you're not alone. There are people that need you, that want you, that need your guidance, your presence. And so it's he didn't mention those words, but he looked at other things, the scene that it would create in the house, the fact that his wife would have to clean that up, what she would then have to tell the children and other people, and what people would think, etc., etc. There's a massive amount to really break down and think about if you decide to do that. And I'm stoked that it convinced him to not go down that path, because there's so much more that gets impacted through doing something like that, through taking your own life. So, yeah, respect to him for not doing that, still being here.
I thought I was having seizures. I didn't know what a panic attack was. I didn't know what real anxiety was. I remember sitting in the chow hall, and I remember sweating into my food, and people looking at me, like sweating through my beard, because of so much sensory overload in that fucking cafeteria. Chopping, chewing, hitting the fork, banging, the dude in the back washing pots and pans. It all just consumed me. And I'd just sit there and I'd just start fucking sweating. Like, fuck, man, I gotta get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. And I'd have to leave. And I tried to make it not a big deal, but it was a big deal because I was solo. Actually, I wasn't solo. Just no one fucking tell me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went up to NICA, we did the full workup. Got put on a bunch of different meds, probably 15 prescriptions. Got put on a stimulant, so Adderall, to kind of keep me focused, which helped. Cymbalta. We did Zoloft. We did everything. Prazosin at night to stop the dreams. We did beta blockers. We did everything. And basically ran that concoction along with tramadol and everything else. Basically the duration. It wasn't until the very end when I got hurt one more time when I realized what that shit actually was. But,
let's take a break there. All right, so we're back from NICO. You got the prescriptions. Did they give you any insight as to what was going on with you medically?
Yeah, they went through the full body, head to toe, every MRI, contrast. I mean, everything you could do to the human body, they ran tests for. Had a couple spots on the brain, but nothing crazy. But they also back it up with, we've had people come in here in wheelchairs pushing themselves around on straws with no spots in their brain. So they couldn't really make rhyme or reason. Just concussion, operator syndrome, a bunch of that kind of stuff. The TBI, ocular stuff. So the overpressure messed up my right eye. So I can't really focus it. So they called it TBI-related ocular dysfunction. So I've got to wear glasses. Like if I really try to dial in a shot, it all goes to a haze. I can't do a super finite focus. So it makes shooting kind of weird. My depth perception is kind of off, but I'm used to it now. And then I had 5 surgeries I had to get. They wanted to do both shoulders, both hips, and my lower back. The neck was they wanted to do a fuck, I can't even remember. Some kind of surgery on my neck. And I did not want to do it. All the docs were like, hey, if you can get by, then push it off. Like, I didn't want to get surgery. I didn't want to miss a deployment. We were gearing back up. I mean, I was in that thing for 30 days. Like, I was going fucking crazy.
All this shit is happening to you, and you're worried about missing a fucking deployment?
That's the only fucking thing I cared. That's why I was so pissed. I was like, why can't I just go to Portsmouth right up the road and come to work every day? And I didn't realize what NICO was. It's to get away from the phone, decompress completely. And it was fucking rough, man. That I was not good with that shit. To be able to pull the phone away, because you're glued to it. You're waiting for that thing to ring to say to come to work all fucking day. And it becomes my nightly routine, dude. I'd check that phone. Team guys exaggerate. This is no exaggeration. I bet you I checked that phone 50 times a day.
Damn.
To make sure my battery was charged. Was the charging cable plugged in right? Like all that different shit. Like I have a serious phobia with being late, like an unhealthy one. And the thought of missing a movement was not a fucking option. I wouldn't go on family vacations that involve flying or long distance travel. If we had a trip coming up, like, no, I can't miss work. I can't do it. So we get there and we're in NICO and we're doing the whole thing. And that facility was amazing.
I have no idea what NICO is, but based on what he's talking about, some type of medical treatment facility, which is cool if they've got that, and if it's specifically for their Defence Force personnel, whether they're SF or not. I don't know if that is the case, but something that I'll have to that I'll take some time to have a look at later on. But if you know, by the time this comes around and you want to drop it in the comments, feel free to put it in. It would be great for me to have an understanding of, and I bet great for other people as well that may not know. So Nico, all right. Interesting also hearing him speak about the obsession and the check-in of his phone. The cable, is it plugged in properly? Is it charged? Are there any messages? Not going on holidays, staying close by within that notice to move so that if a call comes, he can be ready to go. And I can just imagine no, I can't really imagine, but I could. Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine the type of tempo that they must have had, and the calls that likely came through for them to show up, because America's a big beast, man, big machine, and they're everywhere. If something's happening and they need to get into something or find something out, they've got the resources, the assets, the people, the finance, everything to be able to execute that.
From the acupuncture to, everything they did there was amazing. And they fucking saved me. I was in a bad spot. And they see all kinds of people. That staff really bent over backward to me. And I think it's because they saw where I worked. They saw how young I was, and they saw how devastated I was, that I was potentially done. And they came in at the end of it, 30 days. They diagnosed me with all kinds of crazy shit. Everything. And they recommended that I get medically retired. He's like, hey, it's not going to get better, dude. He's like, you need major surgery all over. And they almost got me. They almost got me. They pulled a guilt trip, and they were like, do you think you can perform your best like this? And I knew the answer was no. But my ego caught me. And I went, fucking outperform you. Give me these meds and let me go see. And dude, I ran hard. I ran full tilt for the next 4 years, from 14 to 18, as hard as I could go. Never missed a day of work. It was the best time of my life.
What did your wife think? Did she want you to retire?
Yeah, because what nobody else saw is what I was like at home. I was fucking vile, man. I spit venom out of my mouth all day long. I was just fucking hateful. I hated everything. Anything that wasn't to do with work, I didn't want anything to do with it. My daughter was a burden. Being married was a burden. Having a dog was a burden. Having to do taxes was a fucking burden. Like, why can't you just let me be like one of the 300 fucking Spartans and let me just do this? This is my profession. Can everybody just cater to me and walk around and fucking fan me? That's what I wanted. I did. Like, my ego consumed me, and anything that potentially could derail me or slow me down in any way was not an option.
Man, just hearing DJ speak about this so openly, vulnerable, like just warts and all, listening to this guy, he has helped me, at least with my daughter. So in the rebuilding the connection there, just based on some of the stuff that he spoke about earlier with his dad, with him and his dad. And then since then, unfortunately, I've heard that I don't think him and his dad are talking or whatever. So that's unfortunate. But, he doesn't know me. I don't know him. But his words and what he spoke about that helped me realize a few things, and just grateful that got in still reasonably early with our daughter, where out of the 6 children, there's always one, There's always one. We had one of our children, at least the relationship with me anyway, between her and I, was really broken. And so that's not the case anymore. It's it's really flourishing right now, which is cool. But then hearing him speak about how he was towards that team that wanted to medically retire him, give me the meds, and then he went full tilt for the next 4 years, so 14 to 18, 2014 to 2018. And getting in and doing another 4 years at that level with everything that he's already recognized and understands that's going on, his body needing the surgeries and all that sort of stuff, and then time to heal and recover. Far out, man. That's that in and of itself is impressive, but also, you know, a heavy burden for the spouses and the children to have to carry. So she could already see it. She reached out to his leaders. They followed up. He's been going through this NICO process. He's got the meds now, though, and he's running. He's back into work. But hearing him speak about his ego, his pride, just get out of my way, just let me be one of the 300 Spartans and the rest of you just fan me, you know. Man, I listen to him now and I just think, yeah, there was a blinking young, dumb, full of you-know-what, stupid little Māori boy over in Australia at one stage who didn't want to do a stupid subject course because all I wanted to do, I had a taste for deploying on operations, and then that's all I wanted to do. I'd reached where I wanted to get to, got the chance to go on operations, loved it, and I just wanted to spend the rest of my time and days just preparing for the next one, gearing up. Let's take those lessons. Let's get down to the range. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's practice this stuff. Let's learn from other people, from other operations. Let's get over and replace a squadron that's there. Like, let's get into that cycle. And my ego and pride wouldn't let me swallow and do a basic rubbish promotion course, subject course. So I got what I deserved, right? But I'm glad that in DJ's case he got to carry on running. But it's cool to hear him speak about how, you know, for me I describe it as though I was really selfish, egotistical, and prideful. For him, it's cool hearing him speak about how his ego and his pride and what he wanted. He would probably say a bit of being self-centered and stuff in there as well, which is, you know, awesome that he can speak about that. Anyway, let's jump back in.
It just wasn't. I couldn't let it happen. And the only way to obsess over work, and I felt and do it at the full commitment that I needed to, was to have no attachments. So I emotionally started to separate from my wife, from my kids. You know, I tried to play the game when I came home, but it wasn't. I was thinking about work the entire time. I didn't want to change diapers. I wanted a kid so fucking bad with her. And in 2013, I got one. And I was through the fucking roof, man. I've never been so happy my whole life. And I went overseas. She was, 2 months old when I got hurt. And when I came back, it ate me alive. And when I went to NICO, it got even worse. Now I'm separated. Now they're telling me there's something wrong with me and it's not going to get better. Now I look at my family and I start to resent them. Like, you fucking did this to me. If I wasn't thinking about being a fucking father, if I wasn't thinking about being a husband, it probably wouldn't have fucking happened to me. I started to blame shift on everybody. That's what I did. I threw my walls back up. I'm like, yep, we're going to lean forward in this. I'm going to give this thing everything I can, and I'm going to ride this fucker all the way through. I never in a million years thought I'd get medically retired. Never. I'd never fucking let him. No. There's no fucking way. I'm too hurt. But I'm medicated. I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I was shooting Imitrex probably 5-6 times a week. Auto injectors for migraines. I was taking essentially a lethal dose of Maxalt for migraines. You're supposed to take 3 a week. I'd take 3 a day. I was in a fucking jam, man. When the sun would come up and crest, my world ended. When that sunlight hit my eyes, it was over.
Were you deploying with all this?
Yep. I wore sunglasses all the time. Medicated. It got real bad one night. It was probably 10 o'clock at night. I walked into the kitchen, and I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I hit the microwave, and the light came on and hit my eyes just right, and I fucking collapsed. I pissed myself. Started dry heaving. I'm in the fetal position, just shaking. I was shaking so hard and I didn't know why. I couldn't control it. It felt like I was going to break my own hands. It was all I could do. It was like I was trying to pop my own head off by squeezing everything as tight as I could. And I hadn't had a migraine like that in a while because I stayed doped up all the time. I was constantly taking Maxol and Imitrex and everything else. And I thought I had him at bay, and this fucking thing hit me, dude. And she was trying to call 911. And I'm screaming at her. I'm calling her every name in the book. Don't you fucking dare. That was her big threat. She's like, I'm going to call your troop chief. Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. And she should have.
Man, this is really deep and private and personal, eh? Like, massive respect to DJ for sharing this stuff. Migraines suck. I gladly, thankfully, don't get them that often anymore. But man, it almost stopped me from being able to go into the Defence Force because I had a record of migraines when I was younger and as a teenager. And I did actually, they did reoccur again while I was in Timor, actually. And I got taken from Ballabo down to Dili, I think it was, to the hospital there for about, I think I was there for about a week, 2 weeks, drugged up because I just couldn't sleep, couldn't function, couldn't really do anything. And so spent about I think a couple of weeks, close to a couple of weeks there. and then got a ride back, driven back to Ballabo where we were based, and then carried on with the rest of the deployment. So that was good that it got through that. But just hearing him and the stuff that he was going through and caring and aware of, knowing that he's not fully fit. It is one of those things that they talk about. I remember them talking about it on Cycle in both NZ, excuse me, in both NZ and Australia, prior to even deploying on operations. So this is as early as Cycle. Like if you are not physically fit, medically fit, capable, fit for work, basically, like don't deploy, because you'll be a liability to your team. And if you are not physically fit and capable of doing the work, you're going to be the one that's going to have to look yourself in the mirror if something were to go wrong, and if you lost mates or anything like that. Thankfully, that never happened to me. But I never felt like I was unfit for work when I deployed. But those words always stayed with me because of that. You would be the one that would have to look yourself in the mirror. Did I deploy fully fit, ready to go? Could I have done more? Worst case if something happened. And I knew for me, once I heard those words from the instructors during the cycle, I was like, yeah, I do not want to be that guy that has to look myself in the mirror and be second guessing or doubting. Actually, I was a bit off that day, and somebody got hurt, or worse, somebody died in my team during that period. Thankfully, like I said, nothing like that ever happened to me or within the teams that I was in. But you wouldn't want to be trying to live with that. You wouldn't want to be having to look yourself in the mirror each day and be reliving and replaying that. So why do I share that? Hearing DJ talking about, just what he was carrying and going through, man, it's I'm surprised that he would do that and put not only himself at risk, but also his teammates with regards to what he's got. And I get it. He's saying, he's medicated, he's feeling fine. But man, if my opinion, for what it's worth, my 2 cents, if you feel like you need to take medication, or if you need to take medication in order to feel fine or normal, you're not fine. You're not normal. That's just my take anyway.
I was in a bad spot, man. And everything on me hurt. So like you said, if I'd miss a dose of Tramadol, I felt everything I had. I'd go to the gym in the morning and I'd fake it, and I was fucking miserable. Like I had never felt that much pain. I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was up there. And for the ones that don't know, it's basically a made up term. It's when you have agonizing pain and they can't tell you why. They label it fibromyalgia. But for me, it felt like I had shin splints on every ounce of my body. Like when you shook my hand, it felt like you were breaking my hands. My feet, when I would walk, I could feel it. It felt like my feet were splintering. It was terrible. Every step I took, I was just in agonizing fucking pain. So I just ate painkillers all day. And I masked it, and I trained, and I deployed, and I did every trip I could, anything to get me away from Virginia Beach to just escape reality. And it didn't pay off. I was hurt a lot worse than I really thought I was. I mean, I felt bad. I didn't realize it was only a matter of time before it all came apart. I'd go through these long bouts of depression, weeks on end. I wouldn't want to speak. I'd sit there, I wouldn't want to eat. I'd lose motivation. I wouldn't want to go work out, and then I'd start to make excuses. When you lose focus on the why, you don't have the targets that you want, you don't have funding, you don't have the leadership you want, you don't have this, you don't have that, and you lose focus on why you're actually there, because none of that shit fucking matters. The enemy hopes you're not training. He hopes you don't have funding. He hopes you haven't seen the inside of the gym in 2 fucking weeks. He hopes you don't know where your guns are right now. That's what he's hoping. And I let it consume me. And I just started to hate everything. And then I found skydiving.
You start doing that recreational?
Yeah. I really started to obsess over it. Like that was kind of my thing when I was at the command anyway. I wanted to be a breacher. That's all I wanted to be. I fucking love breaching. And the team I rolled into had a bunch of badass breachers already. They don't need another one. They need a guy to run all the air stuff. So I went way down the jump rabbit hole. And the only bad thing about that is it's so far removed from what the teams are, because it's such a civilian dominated sport, that I started to hang out with everybody who wasn't a team guy. I'd go out on these long trips to Arizona to support courses, and I'd 400 or 500 jumps a year, and wanted to start competing, and that was so unlike me to do anything outside of work. The fact that I would go recreationally skydive, like that's what my wife said. She said, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing it for work. I'm doing it because they asked me. I don't need you to be a breacher. I need for you to be an air subject matter expert. I need for you to be the best jumper in the room." Done. If you had asked me to be a fucking dental tech, I'd be a tier 1 fucking dental tech. It didn't matter. If that's what you wanted me to do, that's what I'm going to do. And I obsessed over it. I spent a lot of personal money and a shit ton of time out there jumping in wind tunnel, and got all my instructor certifications, and throwing out tandems and everything else. But it started to remove me from the group. I started running a bunch of solo projects, or me or 1 or 2 guys. And we'd go out there and we'd just jump. We'd go do 100 jumps in a week. I mean, we jumped. And it really started to take a toll on the family life. Like, I was gone a lot. I can remember her sick as a fucking dog, like puking over the toilet, begging me not to go on this trip. And I looked at her, no sympathy. Like, gotta go. I didn't have to go. That was a made-up trip. That was a fun trip for me. We'd have a work trip that started on Monday. I'd fly out the Friday before.
Sorry, I'm going to pause this here. Just seen it's just under 30 minutes now. Raw, honest dude is speaking about stuff that he knows he's not proud of, but he's putting it out there in the hopes that, well, I'm assuming he's putting it out there. I think it's partly therapeutic for him, and he gets to speak with another ex-Navy SEAL operator in Sean Ryan. And I think probably deep down somewhere in here and in here, he likely knows that there are things that he will say that will resonate with people, that will help other people. Just like some of the stuff that he's spoken about has helped me. Some of the stuff that other people have spoken about in their interviews have helped me as well. And no doubt it's landed and resonated with a bunch of other people out there that spend any time on my channel, and or that have clearly spent time on Sean Ryan's podcast and show and other shows similar to it. So yeah, I'm grateful that I get to have the opportunity to do this, to listen, to take on board what it is that these people are sharing from their experiences. I am drawn to the military side of things, just with my background and my interest in that, and my respect and admiration for people of the Defence Force and first responders in general. But in particular for me, there's something about people that look to push themselves towards that special forces arena. And so yeah, I'm a little bit biased in terms of my reaction content being centered in and around those. But hey, I'm doing this largely because I get a lot out of it personally, and if it helps somebody else who might stumble across my channel get something out of it too, then I'm super stoked about that. So thank you as always for your time. If you got this far, really appreciate it. And as always, anybody going through difficulties, hard times, dark times, man, talk about it if you can. You know, that's been around forever. Reach out to somebody if you need to. Try to find a way, but keep turning up, keep staying in the fight. Know that people need you, depend on you, and that they want your presence and your guidance. Even though you may be self-loathing and not feeling like that anybody cares or wants you around, people do care. People do want you around. So know that the sun will shine again. There is a light at the end of that tunnel. So just keep turning up, keep putting one foot in front of the other, stay as consistent and as disciplined as you can. And I promise you, good things will happen. It will all come to an end and better days are ahead. I promise you that. So as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.